Hey everyone, welcome back to Financial Flourish, where we help you flourish in finance and rise in freedom. I'm your host, Michele Pemberton, and I'm so glad you're here. In our last episode, we talked about why accountability really matters. We talked about how difficult it is to make lasting changes when you're trying to do everything on your own. We talk about the value of having someone in your corner, someone who checks in, who asks questions, encourages you, and sometimes challenges you when you're tempted to give up. And as I've been reflecting on that conversation, I've realized that there's another piece of the puzzle we need to talk about. Because accountability is powerful, but accountability only works if there's something to stay accountable to. It only works if you've actually started. Over the last few weeks, I've been checking in with some of the people who attended the Budget Reset workshop. And what I've noticed is that many of them have done something incredibly important. They've started. They've looked at their numbers, they've created a budget, they've identified goals, they've made decisions, they've taken action. And if you've been listening to this podcast, maybe you've done some of those things too. But here's what happens after the excitement of starting begins to fade. The budget has been created. The goals have been written down. The spreadsheet is finished. The motivation that got you moving starts to settle. And now you're left with a very important question. What happens next? Because starting is exciting. Continuing is hard. Most people don't fail because they never begin. They fail because they stop. Not dramatically, not intentionally. They simply drift. And before they know it, months have gone by and they're wondering, why aren't I closer to the financial life I want? So today, I want to talk to you about what happens after you've taken the first step. Because getting started is important, but staying in the journey is where the real transformation happens. A while back, I was sitting in an airport waiting for a flight. I had plenty of time before boarding, so naturally I started to people watch. And there was this little boy sitting near me. Every few minutes, he got up and he asked his mom, "Are we there yet?" She smiled and said, "No, sweetheart, we're still waiting." 5 minutes later, "Are we there yet?" Again, "No, sweetheart." A few minutes later, "Are we there yet?" Now, we laugh because he's a child. And if we're honest, that's exactly how many of us approach our financial goals. We start saving and we start asking, "Am I financially secure yet?" We start paying off debt and we ask, "Am I debt free yet?" We start investing. We ask, "Am I wealthy yet?" We start budgeting and we ask, "Why don't everything feel different yet?" We want immediate evidence that our effort is working. And when we don't see it quickly enough, we get discouraged. Now, one of the biggest challenges in personal finance is that you can't see the rewards right away. The rewards are delayed. If you spend $200 today, you get immediate gratification. You see the purchase, you enjoy the experience, you get something tangible. But if you save $200, nothing exciting happens. Your account increased by $200, and that's it. No fireworks, no applause, no celebration. Because as humans we are wired for immediate feedback, financial progress can feel frustratingly slow. The problem is that most meaningful accomplishments in life are slow, right? So let's look at some things that are really slow. Building a healthy marriage, that's slow. Building a business, that's slow. Raising children, that's slow. Getting healthy, building wealth, those are things that go by really slowly. But for some reason, we expect our money to move faster than everything else in our lives. So let me talk about the gym membership issue. Every January, millions of people join gyms. The parking lots are packed, the equipment is occupied, everybody is motivated, everybody is excited, everybody is committed. And I see this in January when I went to my gym and I couldn't even find an equipment to go on because there were so many people there. But February came along and suddenly there were more parking spaces. You can choose whichever machine you want to go on because nobody was there. The motivation that had felt so powerful in January started fading. And you know why? It's because motivation is temporary, it's emotional, it's inconsistent. Some days it's there, some days it's not. And what I've learned is that the people who succeed, they don't rely on motivation, they rely on commitment. And so let's look at the difference between interested and committed. Now, the difference is that when you're interested in something, you do it when it's convenient. And when you're committed to something, you do it even when it's inconvenient. So, most people are interested in saving money, getting out of debt, building wealth, investing, creating financial freedom. But commitment will actually show up differently than interested. When you're committed, you show up when you're tired, when you had a bad day, when you don't feel like dealing with money, when you'd rather do something else. So, commitment is what keeps you moving when the excitement is over. And the good news is that you don't have to feel motivated every day. You just have to keep showing up. Now, let's talk about what actually happens when people start saving or start looking at their finances because nobody decides offhand. You know, you wake up one day and you say, you know what, it's a good day today, and I feel like I'm just going to abandon all my financial goals. That doesn't happen. So, what happens is that people start drifting because life gets busy, work gets demanding. Your children need your attention, your parents need your attention, you have a packed schedule, unexpected expenses show up, and little by little, your financial goals move further down the list of priority. And it's not because you stop mattering, but because life gets louder, because that's how drift happens. Not through one big decision, but through hundreds of small distractions. So, let me tell you a story about a road trip. Imagine you're driving from Florida to California. You enter the destination into your GPS. You start driving. The route is clear, everything is going fine. Then, somewhere around Texas, you make a wrong turn. Now, here's a question. Do you turn around and drive back to Florida? Of course not. That would be ridiculous, right? Yes. So you simply get back on course. So why don't you do that financially? You know, you overspend 1 month and suddenly you think, well, I blew it. You miss one savings goal and you say, oh, this is not working. I need to stop. Or you had one unexpected expense and you decided that you need to start over. But no, that's not necessary. You don't need to start over, you need to continue. Now let's go back to this road trip story and take it a step further. Let's imagine that you got a flat tire. Would you then say, you know what, I'm not going on this trip because I have one flat tire? No, you just go and fix the tire. And then you'll get back in your car and you'll keep driving. But for some reason, when it comes to our finances, we just abandon our goals, our entire goals for a temporary setback. You had one bad month, one emergency, one mistake, one impulse purchase, one holiday season, because we know what holiday season does to our budget. And suddenly you're saying, you know what, this journey is over. It's not working. It's just a setback. And it doesn't mean that you're a failure, it just means that you had a setback. I want to use another example of how we don't abandon things when something is off. So let's take the story of gardening, right? I don't know if you garden. I can't say that I do on a very low scale, but I won't say that I do. But imagine you plant some seeds today, and then tomorrow you walk outside and you're looking and you don't see anything. And then 3 days later, you come back out and you don't see anything. Then a week later, it's nothing. What would you do? Would you go in the pot and dig up all the seeds so that you can see where it's going? No, I don't think so. Because you trust the process. You understand that growth is happening beneath the surface. So financially, it's the same thing. Your confidence is growing, your discipline is growing, your awareness is growing, your consistency is growing. You can't see the dramatic changes, but it's still happening. I think many people have the wrong picture of financial success. They imagine that someone who's financially successful, that person never made a mistake. They never overspend, they never get discouraged, they never had setbacks. And the truth is that that person does not exist because none of us are perfect. What financially successful people are is they're persistent. They keep adjusting, they keep trying, they keep learning, they keep showing up, they keep moving forward, even after a mistake. In fact, especially after a mistake. So, as I wrap up, I want to leave you with 3 questions. Number 1, where are you expecting results faster than reality allows? Question 2, where are you tempted to quit? And question 3, what is the one action you can take this week that moves you forward? Not next month, not next year, this week. The small actions matter. Small actions compound and they eventually lead to really big results. Over the past few episodes, we've talked about avoiding financial reality, having honest money conversations, and surrounding yourselves with accountability. Today's episode fits right alongside those lessons because once you've started your money journey, the goal isn't perfection. The goal is persistence. And I know that there will be setbacks, there will be detours, there will be months that don't go according to plan. But none of those things mean you failed. They simply mean you're human. Financial flourish isn't built by people who never make mistakes. It's built by people who keep showing up, people who keep learning, people who keep adjusting, people who keep moving forward even when progress feels slow. So, wherever you are today, don't quit. Keep taking the next step. Keep making the next good decision. Keep trusting the process because the life you're building won't be created in one day. It's created through the small decisions you make over and over again. So, I hope that you're encouraged to not only start the journey but to stay on it. And if you know someone who can benefit from this episode, share it with them. Connect with us at _financial flourish, that's on Instagram, or wherever you listen to your podcast, Financial Flourish. I would love to hear from you. Ladies, as you take one more step towards your financial goal, don't forget to flourish.